Hey, Bob Coppedge, Crotchety Olde Geek, CEO, Simplex-IT, whatever. I want to talk today about geek nostalgia. And what I mean by that is I want to talk a little bit about some of the history of IT, especially the IT that I dealt with, and to put that in perspective as to why things are the way they are today. Right? Now, fair warning, whenever you start getting older geeks, such as myself, together, geek nostalgia will start happening. Oh, when I was young, I used to program on, yeah, whatever. It's not pleasant. But here's the thing: the technology in its infancy was extremely limited in terms of power, capacity, speed, all of that kind of stuff. So every shortcut, every trick in the book had to be used in order to get it to do anything. My first job as programmer, I kid you not, was working on a single board microprocessor that had built-in BASIC, meaning you turn it on, BASIC, the language was right there, 4K of RAM, no hard drive, no floppy drive, no USB, none of that storage. Cassette tapes were used in order to store the program, not the data, the program. And we had to use every trick in the book in order to save and to cram as much of a program into that 4K of RAM. So literally every single character we could leave out of the program improved the running of the program. So you know what we did? We left off 2 of the years. So instead of 1980, it was just 80. That's Y2K in a nutshell. Not because we were lazy, but because we were ingenious. You would have a program, say 2 bytes of information, which for 4K, that adds up. That's why we didn't have comments. That's why we concatenated everything. That's why we cheated every way we wanted to. Similarly, when it comes time for programs to connect and to communicate with each other, whether it be data or whatever, they were slow, whether it be through phone lines, through 56K lines, which we thought was fantastically fast, whatever. So we were more worried about how do we transmit the least amount of data in terms of bytes than we were in terms of protecting the data. And we needed to make sure things worked as quickly and as efficiently as possible. So we didn't worry about security because we couldn't, not in order to get the stuff working. So you had this entire industry that developed over about 25 years, from 1980 to about 2005, where the concern was do more with less. Sound familiar? That's what every business wants to do, not just industries, but the individual business, in order to become more profitable and get more value, more bang for the buck. So to make it more so that resources can communicate and can connect with each other more easily, more efficiently, which also means it can be taken advantage of from a security standpoint. That really hit the wall right around the early mid 2000s. So at that point in time, you had an industry that was well entrenched, that essentially was built on being able to do more with less, that suddenly had to turn around and, while still operating, had to now care about security. So all of this thing had to be retrofitted, which means that a lot of the security pieces that were put in place would prohibit some of the really cool, imaginative ways we had to do things earlier. So ways we cheated in order to get more data sent over more efficiently now would be considered to be an insecure or non-secure way of doing things. So we had to retrofit everything. This is why whenever you see people who are talking about we're going to upgrade our hardware, we're going to upgrade our software, the operating systems, the whatever, you see this disconnect between we've got legacy systems which won't work on the newer operating systems, and we've got older operating systems that won't work with new applications because they were done with different mindsets and different understanding of what security is. So one of the key concepts here is to understand why things happen and why things work the way they do. It's because we used to store stuff on cassette tapes that had 4K of RAM. Now get off my lawn. Bob Coppedge, Crotchety Olde Geek.